testimony mostly all in support.
Madam Chair,
So, yes.
this is coming back to the committee for hearing.
Yeah, it's gonna come back to the committee for hearing. This
So
is
the
what's
hearing,
technical.
this is decision making, people may not understand the
Yeah.
process because it's a in place, but it's with a following procedure where another bill by the title Senate Bill 42 has a completely different content.
Well, it's a short form.
Oh, it's a short form.
It's a short form.
Yeah, you're right, it says empty.
Short form, yeah.
And so the rules say that, because by bill introduction deadline, things come up after.
Yes,
And
that's
so
how this bill
we
came up.
insert it, in a public, then it goes to the floor, it gets it's not even, it already has a first reading. So it's referred, and sometimes re-referred, because sometimes a committee may put in a subject that spans goes to another committee, so then it gets re-referred. But this one looks like it's, I'm not sure if it stays, then it gets up for hearing, and then it's a full hearing, and then votes, and then we're back on track, like all the other bills, so.
Yeah.
Just for clarification.
Yeah, so it's technically, I mean, but, you know, I don't know
It's up to you.
yeah, okay, I mean, I appreciate that some of you might have traveled from afar to come, and so we can give you a brief, if you want to make, you know, I won't go through the whole list, there's a lot of 3 pages worth of testifiers. So if anybody wants to briefly come up, maybe give you a minute, if you want to make a statement, you can line up. If you want to support or oppose SB42.
Where's Claire Connors at?
I'm not, well, you see that, yeah, she's probably, if AG's gonna probably weigh in once the bill actually gets inserted.
And Chair,
Yeah.
so is it your intention to bring this bill up for the, right?
Yes.
Right, so this is decision making, so a full on hearing, and then that's when you would expect, because
That's when AG was.
Because it
gonna
does
come.
say-
Yeah.
that no testimony will, so publicly it says that, but
Yeah.
at the discretion of the chair, I'm
Yeah.
sure this better be open.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, if you want to make a very brief, I will, no more than 1 minute statement. Yeah, 'cause we will have another hearing later on the SD1, on the proposed SD1.
We're gonna do that again, right?
Yeah.
For real.
That's
This is practice.
Yeah. Always do this.
Actually, I wasn't even gonna come over today, but last week I went to a civil beat thing where Senator Thielen said, personal expression of yourself at testimony is always really important. So that's why I'm here today. So I'm not gonna belabor this because I will be back, you know that. But I just want you to know that since 2012, I have been a supporter of KAHEA, which is not the only nonprofit that this is going to actually affect. And so I just want to mahalo you for putting it in here and giving us a chance to actually talk about it because it's an important thing and we'll see how it goes. Mahalo.
Sure, mahalo.
Hello.
Aloha.
My name is E.P.L. Jamondo, and 1 minute, but so, I guess, I'm not sure if I'll be back for the full hearing, or, you know, so I'm gonna just, today. So, all Hawaii, stand together, rise up, desecration, rebellion, I am not American, brains, let the water flow, guardians, these tears, we are Mauna Kea, Kapua Aloha, we chanting, for the Lagui, 1893, struggle, let it rain, overthrow, yeah. These are songs we sing. These are songs that are playing on the radio. Listen to the music of our people singing. Listen to it and look in the mirror. It doesn't matter where you stand. What matters is truth. The mirror is truth. It is not as simple as passing a few laws to tell the state attorney general how to act regarding our Hawaii. Aina and our people, Hawaii Kopai Aina, what we fight for is good. And what leadership, what the state of Hawaii leadership choose to fight for, I'm sorry to say, this bill I support because it's heaven. Acting like a bully will not stop us from singing, standing, sharing, educating, malama na aina, we malama each other, kokua, aloha, our Hawaii kopa aina. This is what we do. So if this, I'm against this, I support this bill, because the state attorney general should not be using her powers, or whoever after her should not be using the power to suppress the whole Hawaii Aina people of the island, because it's not going to stop. But
Mahalo.
Aloha.
Yeah.
So
This one here, thank you, Senator Ishihara.
Close enough.
This is what we commonly refer to as a gut and replace. Because when I did look at the first one, it was like it's just open,
Yeah,
having to do
short
with anything
form.
Hawaiian.
Yeah.
So, okay, your short forms that holds the place
Yeah,
to plug in another bill or inserts of another bill for it to be discussed. So fortunately, I wanna thank you for doing this early in the legislative process so that we can have more discussion on it. Because right now, today, we're talking about one nonprofit entity. And it's one nonprofit entity that is standing up against all of the for-profit entities, against all of these countries and their universities and their private funders that are speaking from a corporate perspective. So for us to have at least one entity that is supporting our non-violent civil rights to protect us needs to be had this discussion, because the Attorney General's office has gone through all avenues, and I don't think they're done. They're gonna go through all avenues of free expression of speech to try and quell it, to try and suppress it. That's not what the Attorney General's office is for. Their office is to ensure that everybody follows the law, not to create a new law to further suppress us. That's what I refer to as the snakes doing their slippery slide. You know, so if there isn't a law to suppress the Hawaiians, let's create a law. This is unnecessary and so discriminatory. So I do thank you for allowing us to have this discussion so that we can vet it. The AG's office, like somebody in higher, further places, they are doing something that is ethically, morally, I'll call it corrupt, because it opposes a financial perspective of this state. And finances is great because we all need it. We all need that. But we also need to recognize what is morally and ethically correct. And can we afford to live by integrity of our ethics and of our morals? Because money can only do so much for you. How long can you continue to look at yourself in the mirror every day, knowing that you are suppressing your native community? Mahalo.
Hello, everybody. My name is Paul Gallagher. I'm from Ireland, but I live here in Hawaii. So, as politicians, you know that under Citizens United versus FEC, super PACs and the use of money was considered free speech. I don't see this as being in any way any different. If the Attorney General is going to be investigating, I don't even know what the basis for the subpoena was. Under Hawaii real estate law, penal law, it is a crime in the transfer of conveyance of real estate if it is done deceitfully. Mauna Kea Access Road, since 1968 up until 2018, sat there doing nothing. And all of a sudden in 2018, the Department of Transport was saying, we want jurisdiction over that. Why? What was the input from who that made Ed Sniffen make that request? And if there was any deception, and Senator KAHEA, you call out William Isla when he lied about that transfer, right? So there's a suspicion there. In number one, who brought up the decision by the DOT? Who were the people that put in the inputs to make that request? Number one. Number two, why did Chair Isla lie about it that you call about for publicly? That is exceedingly suspicious. And if there's anything the Attorney General should be looking into as criminal or penal, that is the action. Furthermore, the destruction of the unpermitted property on Mauna Kea, if you look at the ordinance on Hawaii Island, that completely violated due process, which was another decision made by William Isla. So at what point does the government start looking at what the people are going through and the abuse of power, the abuse of position, the abuse of law to carry out these actions? And you're violating. Everybody knows it was a crime in the overthrow, right? Is there anybody who disagrees with that statement? Anybody? That was a crime. And the people that are protesting it are the victims of that crime. So what about victims' right in that criminal situation? You know, at what point are you guys going to start looking into the actions within the government? This is ridiculous. We should not be here. We should not need this bill. You know, the underlying premise of the bill is that there has been misconduct. Why aren't we having hearings about what that misconduct may have been? We're trying to put a Band-Aid on an underlying problem. Let's get real here. This is not right. It just pure, plain, and simply is not right. You know, honestly.
How can you say for my own good if you didn't be my shoes? How can you say for my own good if you never experience the pain that every day struggle that I go as the evil? How can you say that they're wrong when all you want to do is live the life the way they intend? Well then, the language is taking over, the culture is taking over, the home is taking over. You really need a clinical overview. You really are homeless.
Can you summarize, please?
I think it's wrong what you guys are doing. That everybody feels it easy. You don't have homeless. It's unhealthy. I'm not getting this bill.
Thank you, Michael. All right, anyone else here for SB42?
Hello, Senators. I'm Adair Span again. I wish you guys were on this side because we voted you guys into office and you guys should be with the people. I'm in support of SB42, which I think shouldn't even be a bill in the first place. You know what I mean? I don't know why she's not doing subpoenas against Catholic charities, Goodwill, Salvation Army, and other people. But it's when it's a supporting Hawaiian nonprofit, it comes up as a big thing. Why? Because it's in the interest of the boss, Governor Eager. That's the main reason why this whole thing is there. She's trying to stop the process of what's going on, of our people. You call them red shirts. This is our lahui. We have risen. Together we rise. And we will continue to rise until our seats right there that you guys sitting in is our people. I can guarantee that's going to happen 2020, 2022, and on. You know, I wish Mrs. Connors was here because there would be a more different approach I'll come with. But because you guys are here, you know, it's more peaceful. But I'll tell you guys this, that thing, it doesn't matter if it takes it to the next level or if the bill is abolished or what. We still gonna fight. We still gonna stand. We still gonna be doing AHA at the Capitol at 5:30 every single day, Monday through Friday. And you guys gonna hear us and you guys gonna feel us in you guys' hearts, in your pool vibe. Hopefully you guys have one like the rest of us, and I'm sure you guys do. You know, so just take into consideration the people behind me that sign those ballots, that check those boxes to put you guys in your guys' space. You know what I mean? This is us. We the people is everybody in this room. Not just you guys, the senators, or not just him, the governor, or Mrs. Attorney General that wasn't voted in by the people, that was appointed by the governor. Why is that? Who knows? We'll find out one day. Aloha.
Aloha. Anyone else here for this measure, SB42? Okay, yeah, what are you gonna do? Okay, he's gonna leave in 5 minutes for this quorum, so please, maybe make this the last one. Yeah.
Aloha, my
Yeah.
chair, senators. Kauko wahilani, puea, wa'ena gari. I'm here in support of KAHEA, and, you know, thank you for having the space so that we can conversate more on this matter, but let me oppose what the Attorney General is doing, especially as a Kanaka. So, mahalo.
Mahalo. Okay, you've been very, keep it written, because otherwise, you know, this bill's not gonna pass if you don't keep it short.
It shouldn't pass, it's illegal under international law.
Aloha, Madam Chairman, Vice Chairman, members of the committee, and members of the audience. My name is Kenny Frost. I'm a Native American consultant. And I saw this bill and it came from the mainland to help people to understand and to protect Mauna Kea. I've worked in the protection of sacred religious sites on the mainland in Turtle Island and have worked jointly with federal agencies and state. But in this question here, the law itself is not a question of the Attorney General seeking information from a nonprofit. It is a jurisdictional issue between the state attorney and the federal agency which issued the 501c3. It is that issue which needs to be clarified by the state and the United States government, because the IRS is the one who gave the 501c3 status to the nonprofit. So the state does not dictate or take away the nonprofit status of any nonprofit, because this will be case precedent even on the mainland. And so it should be the IRS who should be the ones to take away the nonprofit status, and has the jurisdiction to look at the nonprofit status, not a state. The state does not dictate to the federal government. The federal government gives federal fundings to all states, and that's how it should be. So the state attorney general has overstepped the boundaries in seeking information of any nonprofit, and cannot do so, because that's not how government 101 works.
All
It
right,
works
thank
the
you.
other way
To
around.
summarize so we can vote. Thank
So
you.
I commend those who are fighting this and doing the proper thing,
Thank you so much.
and we should abide the law.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we're gonna recess decision making, so we're gonna go back in. Yep, okay, we're gonna pass as amended the proposed SD1 with technical amendments. Questions?
I just wanna say real quick that you should be commended for reintroducing this bill, because it came at the request of the Kia'i, who came to the Capitol last week, who we hosted on behalf of the Hawaiian Caucus. The request was made at that meeting, and the chair committed to put this bill in motion in order to allow for this discussion. Wouldn't have happened without Miley. So thank you for doing that.
And thank you to Senator Okoloma for being the chair of the Native Hawaiian Caucus that called the meetings. Thank you.
Okay, Senate Bill 42, passed with amendments. Chair?
Aye.
Vice Chair Torres, Senator Torres is excused, Senator Keontolole.
Aye.
And Senator Rivera is excused. Motion is
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, Senator.